Here I am back in the BattleTech backer beta. This time I'm taking out a lance loaded up with 8 total PPCs. As you will see, I have 2 awesome 8Qs with 3 PPCs apiece. I also have a Vindicator with a single PPC and a Griffin with a single PPC. So the awesome is pretty well known, has a PPC, one in its right arm and the other 2 are split between the left and right torso. And for short range, it has a small laser. The Vindicator has a PPC in the right arm, and it is a pretty decent mech. It's pretty mobile. It's okay. I don't mind it. And also the Griffin has a PPC in its right arm also to get that long range fire support. And it also has an LRM-10 mounted on a circular drum over its right shoulder. I did not do a intentionally built lance for the AI. I should have done that based off what happens and then again what the AI does. I went ahead and left it random and I got what I got. But what I'm doing here is I just kind of want to focus on using the PPCs primarily in this game. I'm going to keep my entire lance for probably good 95% of the game. The entire lance is going to be in the water. I know that is also going to allow the AI to get its mechs to be in the water also. But as I have the 2 awesomes, they need to be standing in the water to continually use all 3 PPCs. Even though traditionally the awesome has, I believe, 28 heat sinks, single heat sinks. I think it's 28, which is quite a bit. Here in the game, I don't think that's what the number is. I'd have to look at the stats, but I'm not sure if it's 28. And they're all in the legs. And that is about the only way the awesome will be able to maintain firing the PPCs turn after turn after turn, especially alpha striking them every time. But I was planning on taking advantage of a little bit of what the AI tends to do on this map, which is come down right here where I am parking the Vindicator. And I was going ahead and putting the Vindicator up on this little ledge to spot the enemy lance as soon as possible to be able to start getting PPC shots in at their max ranges. I haven't had an AI come around the left side of this map down the channel that the Griffin is watching over at all in the beginning of a match. I've had a few where eventually they crept around there when the game was pretty much already decided. But in this game, you will see that the AI finally, did something unpredictable to a certain degree, I guess. Something different for me anyway. And 3 of the mechs, as you can see, the blips on the map up on the northern section right now are heading down that channel on the left side of the map. So my Vindicator is out of position. Well, sort of right now, still providing a little bit of overwatch for the pass. But definitely one of the awesomes is going to be out of position as the little island in the middle of the water there is going to be blocking line of sight to targets as they turn the corner like that Centurion just did right there. The second awesome, the one that is on the left, is not so bad as it will only have to move a little bit to get its weapons to bear on an enemy mech coming in. But the Griffin has the LRM-10 and a PPC mounted, so it's able to engage targets at long range. And I'm going to go ahead and initiate the combat right here as it stands and target the Centurion. So the Centurion also has an LRM, so you could definitely shoot back at me. And it has 2 medium lasers, I remember right, and a small laser. So the energy weapons right now are a bit out of range for that. I have the second mech coming in, which has not been identified yet. Haven't seen the assault mech that should be in this lance. And there you go with the 75 ton. That is a heavy mech. And I know what they are now, but I didn't know what it was until that Orion turned the corner right there. And the Orion in this game, in this BattleTech version, is a pretty decent mech. It has some good armor, can bring decent firepower to bear. I actually like the Orion a little bit too. I've played the Orion quite a bit when I was playing Mech Warrior Online, although I haven't played that game in, probably going on almost 2 years now. But I had a lot of fun with the Orion. But, it brings good firepower to the battlefield and a decent amount of armor. So I'm just going to reposition the awesomes so they can bring all 3 of their PPCs to bear on the enemy lance coming down this left channel. And seeing I've already attacked the Centurion, I want to try and focus down targets one at a time in this match to go ahead and try and eliminate enemy mechs as fast as possible. And with the Alpha Strike for the PPCs, not bad, pretty decent. But again, the second awesome is going to be not able to fire the weapons right now, as it is going to have line of sight being blocked. If I remember right, I think that's what's going on right here. Yes, I have no line of sight for direct fire energy weapons, and of course the awesome, this version of awesome does not have any indirect fire weapons. And right now, I was fully expecting the assault mech on this lance to be just barely out of sensor range, and was fully expecting it to be the next turn, if not the turn after that, to be coming around the corner, and I would have all 4 of them right there in the channel. And like I said, right now, actually, you pretty much know, if anybody's played this beta at all, if you pay attention to a lot of videos, you can pretty much tell what's going on as soon as you see 2 of the mechs on the enemy lance. Like right here, I already know that the assault mech on this lance is an awesome. It is an 8Q. It is a 3 PPC version. So there is some good matchup there, although I have an extra one on my lance. But there is no light mechs on here, and I actually have the lighter lance in this, although I have 2 assault mechs. The other 2 mechs are lighter than what is on the enemy lance. I did that so I can go ahead and squeeze that second awesome into this lance. I gave up some armor with, I don't have a heavy mech. I just have the 2 assault mechs and 2 medium mechs, which is still pretty good firepower as they're all carrying PPCs. But with the PPC loadouts, I have to stay at range. I can't afford to let mechs get up close and personal, as the PPC's effectiveness drops off extremely fast when you start getting in close ranges, to the point where you might as well just go in and just stay straight melee. And with the awesomes, because they don't move that good, it's not easy for them to get back out of melee range to get into, you know, decent PPC range. So you kind of got to play that game to begin with. If it appears that the AI is trying to close the distance on the awesome, you have to keep backing them up if you want to keep the PPCs in play. If I wasn't really trying to focus on PPC action in this game, I wouldn't have minded going ahead and just letting the mechs get into melee combat and just slugging it out, as I actually do melee a little bit later on in the match. But again, wanted to try and use the PPCs as the primary damage dealing weapon systems. I actually made a mistake right here. I wanted to back the Griffin up to get a little bit better shot, but what I did is I backed up where I lost my there you go, this Orion came back in where I can target him, but that was a mistake by backing up and losing the targeting information. And of course the AI does what the AI does, comes around the corner, AC 20 right at long range and scores hits all day long is what the AI does. And I guess I might be the only one who plays this game who doesn't have that kind of RNG luck with my AC 20s. But either way, not that big of a deal. The Orion's shooting at a target that I don't think it should. Right here, if I turned the corner and was facing these 2 awesomes right here, I think I would try to bring all 4 of my mechs to bear and focus down one of those assault mechs and get it off the battlefield. But that is just what I would have done. Is that the right thing to do? You know, we can debate that from here to there. Some people would go after the easier targets, try to take as many weapon systems out of the game as quick as possible. The 2 medium mechs would be primary targets for that. But they're both highly mobile and can get out of range fairly easily, unlike the awesomes, which don't have that ability to break contact very easily, and they become easier targets to focus down if you get them into range. But that's not what the AI does. The AI has a tendency to spread the love around a little bit, tends to target mechs that are damaged, tends to target the lighter mechs, which is, you know, in a lot of occasions not a bad idea, but sometimes it gets them in trouble. Later on in this game, we'll kind of get an example of them wasting firepower on a mech that was pretty much not a threat anymore, and they end up taking out of the game. But you know, then what did that really accomplish? Not a whole lot. So, you know, the AI still needs some work in this game. I know that once it goes to open beta or goes into release, that, you know, there's going to be a lot of PvP content for this, and most people probably do PvP. And of course, when you're doing PvP, people will do very interesting things, take advantage of tactics, take advantage of the strengths of mechs, try to take advantage of the weaknesses of mechs, unlike what the AI does. But for, I know there's a lot of people like myself, I really love the campaign modes in these games, and I probably will play campaign mode more than anything. I'm not a very big PvP person. In turn-based games, I prefer the campaign modes. But anyway, again, trying to get the Griffin into its edge of its long-range envelope to make it a harder target, and also increase the hit percentage of its weapon systems. Right here, 80% is not bad. Would have preferred to be in the 90s. And the PPC misses, but score hits with the LRM-10. Again, LRM's score hits pretty regular, pretty consistent in this game, which is, I don't mind them being super consistent, seeing how they are guided weapons. They're not just fire and forget weapons, and they're not just let it fly like SRMs are. So I don't mind them being extremely accurate. Again, the Orion targets the Vindicator way off on its left flank, on my right flank, blows the left arm off, and knocks the mech down. Obviously, the pilot takes injury too. So I already know now that, you know, I need to protect that mech as much as possible. And I have a feeling that right now I was thinking, well, looks like the AI, that's its target, that's what it's going to go after. So let me go ahead and focus this Orion down with every weapon on my awesomes and try to do as much damage as possible. Maybe doing some kind of, make it be like a threat generation thing to the AI, possibly. I don't think it works like that though, but you know, if you're constantly attacking with a certain mech on a certain mech for the AI, maybe will change their focus and go after the mechs that are shooting at them the most. Whether it works like that or not, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think there's something else driving that. But again, I haven't gotten into learning exactly how the AI is supposed to work. And sometimes it does smart things, sometimes it does bonehead things, and most of the time it does just questionable stuff. A bonus to the PPCs is they do have a little bit of a destabilizing effect to them, which means not as much as LRMs, but if you continually hit a mech with PPCs, they will build up their unsteady bar and to get to a point where they'll knock them down. Like right there, I knocked the Orion down with just 3 PPC shots. There was no LRM fire in there, no SRM fire on there, as there's no SRMs in this match. And the PPCs did the action, which is, I like that. It's pretty cool. I honestly, I kind of would prefer that they had their old school EMP effect a little bit, like, you know, messing up targeting, messing up sensor locks, or maybe having a chance to temporarily disable weapons or whatnot. But I don't really, you know, having some kind of bonus effect to the PPC is not, you know, is a good idea. It needs to have its own flavor other than just doing more damage than large and small lasers. Although the large and small lasers in this game get a bonus to accuracy, unlike the rest of the weapons do. And they don't get, and the PPC doesn't get a debuff to using it, you know, back to back to back like the AC weapons get a refire debuff, which means they suffer hit percentage penalties if you keep using them turn after turn after turn, which is, you know, not a bad idea, I guess, you know, because traditionally those AC weapons that have a chance to jam. But enough of the AC weapons in this game, is there's none of those in this, well, none of those in my lance in this game. Again, targeting the Orion as it goes down. I know I was focusing down the Centurion, but the Orion put itself in the front as the heavy mech the way it should have anyway. And with it going down, I want to go ahead and do as much damage as possible with it being extremely vulnerable, laying on its back. As you can see there, LRM's doing, you know, giving the unsteady buff to one of my awesomes. And here, assuming the Orion is just moving back to gain a little bit of range on the awesomes, and then it targets the Griffin. I don't know why the AI made this decision. This is one of those questionable decisions, as just the turn before it was engaging the awesome that is actually on the left right now, and then all of a sudden decide to target the Griffin in the back, which has less firepower to bring to bear on it. And the Orion is suffering from facing 2 assault mechs. As you can see, his paper doll up in the center part of the screen. It's taking a lot of damage. There it goes, going down again. Destroyed the left arm, took out its LRM is gone, SRM is gone. So the Orion is not doing very good. And still, how many turns have we had, and we still have not seen the assault mech that is in this lance. It's not even a target blip. It hasn't even been a target blip, so it's not like it's just outside of target range. It's not even there. I don't understand what the AI is doing right here. It's allowing me to tear its lance apart with only 3 of the mechs in the action, and leaving the mech that has the most armor and the most firepower on it completely out of the fight for so long. Again, this is something I believe needs to be looked at, needs to be addressed, and needs to be fixed for the campaign style skirmish battles, or else it'll just be way too easy to game how the AI makes decisions in its combat abilities. So again, targeting the disabled mech, doing a right torso target, although, you know, maybe go for center torso headshot, but that right torso is damaged so much right now that I was going ahead and trying to destroy the right arm, because if the right torso went, the right arm would have went with it, but that didn't happen. And now that my Vindicator has been completely out of the battle for a couple turns now, because it just took a whole lot of damage really fast, it has a PPC available long range, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring that PPC to bear. And the Vindicator also has jump jets, so it makes it highly maneuverable. You can maneuver that mech around very easily at its max distances while jumping, because you can reorientate the mech in any direction you want in the air, unlike what happens when you're either moving normally or sprinting, where they have a certain amount of movement points that they can spend, and then they may not be able to turn and face in a direction you want them to when you're moving at near or max range. You don't have to worry about that when you're using your jump jets. They will reorientate themselves 360 degrees in the air, no problem. And again, now the AI is bunching its lance up, which is not that big of a deal. So I mean, it's not like there's artillery strikes you can call in this game and hit all 3 of them at one time. I mean, you can multi-target three mechs at once, but you know, there's no off-screen artillery, no bombardment, nothing like that. It's going to go on. It's going to really make having your mechs, you know, this close together that big of a deal, other than you don't have to move your own lance around a lot to shoot at a lot of them. And there we go. The Orion now has no weapon systems left. All of its weapons have been destroyed. Both arms are gone. The only thing that Orion can do now is get into melee combat range and just try to headbutt me, you know, as much as possible. And the AI is moving it forward, and that is the only chance it has. Unfortunately, it has a damaged leg, which means its movement, I believe, gets cut in half. Could be wrong about that. And now I'm going to completely ignore the Orion, as it can do nothing to me unless I let it get into melee range. So now all of my mechs are going to be focused on right now firing at the Vindicator, and that is what I'm going to do. Still waiting for the AI assault mech to get into the action. Already have one of these mechs basically it was completely disabled, as it has no weapon systems, and the AI still hasn't brought its assault mech into the fight. I was beginning to think that it was creepy crawling its way over the pass on the right hand side. I know it's an assault mech. I know they tend to be slow, but they're not that slow, and their movement is not that restricted, so it's having an issue. Vindicator loses the arm with the PPC on it, neutered a lot of its firepower, and at this point in the game, the enemy AI is already screwed. Although all the mechs are still up and in the fight, they are missing a lot of firepower with so many of their individual weapon systems being taken out of this match. and just getting into straight melee combat with the 2 assault mechs and these 2 medium mechs that are jump jet capable. They can just keep moving all over the battlefield at will is pretty much not going to happen for the AI. At this point, it would come down to me starting to do weird things to try to test weird, tactics, which, right now I'm focusing on PPCs. I had thought about already not using LRMs anymore on the Griffin, but it's only 1 PPC and it's an LRM 10, but it's doing damage, decent damage, and it's not doing a whole lot else other than there goes the enemy mech getting knocked down, taking pilot damage. And look at that, another mech with no arms, just got like little bugs walking around missing all their arms. It'd be kind of cool in this game if these mechs could walk up there and pick up a limb that had been blown off another mech and using it to beat an enemy mech with it. If they have like a power fist, something in their hand that they can grab. Obviously, if they got a gun arm where there's actually no hand actuator, they couldn't do that. But if they do, I think that'd be pretty cool if that makes it into the game. Pick up an arm and maybe get some kind of bonus damage to using some sort of club or whatnot with that in combat. In speaking specifically, the Griffin itself actually has 2 power fists that are specifically built for melee combat to protect itself up close, because it only has long-range weapon systems on it. So the way it's going to protect itself if you close the distance is with melee with its power fists, and that would definitely be a mech that could pick something up and use it as a club, like a blown off arm from another mech. The PPCs seem to be having very good accuracy, even higher than what I've noticed with the AC weapons. But with my pilots, I did put pilots into these mechs that like those style. Like I put a pilot, I think it's Ozone, who prefers being in an awesome, and Wildfire, I'm not sure Wildfire also prefers to be in an awesome. I think one of them don't. And then I have Arclight, who is the generic pilot who just get in anything, get busy. And then Apex, if I believe right, actually wants to be inside the Griffin. I think Apex is a Griffin pilot. I can't remember. I know I should probably remember these things by now. Here we go. I got a Arclight long range, gonna target the Orion. Extreme damage to center torso already, firing a PPC and medium laser. And as you can see, didn't even need the medium laser. The PPC did all the work, and the Orion goes down. And we had barely caught a glimpse of the assault mech on the enemy Lance coming in, which I know is an awesome 8Q. So when it gets here, it's not like it's gonna be an Atlas coming around the corner that has an AC-20, LRMs, medium lasers on it, and 100 tons. I already know that's not going to happen. So about right now, that'd probably be about the only mech that I know that could come around the corner and just really do serious damage in a short amount of time to my Lance for what's left. Like the awesome, if a Atlas came around here and got crits on the awesome on the arm and started peeling away the PPCs, it wouldn't be long before the awesome turns into just a big headbutt machine. Although it does have a small laser on its head, but a small laser really isn't going to do a whole lot to an awesome. But I know that's not the case, because the enemy Lance has an 8Q and not an Atlas. Again, the enemy Lance is still, spreading its fire around a little bit, still really not focus firing targets. I'm not really understanding how it dictates what it's going to shoot at. Maybe it's going for, the best optimal firing envelopes for individual mechs, and those are the targets it's going after. I could understand that. I guess if that's the case, you can kind of game that too a little bit. But I mean, we are talking about AI, so I guess you can't really program for everything. But I don't know, the way it's doing it now seems to not be a good idea, especially with this leaving its heavy firepower out of the match until, look, where I'm in round 10 now, and I still don't have full targeting information on the enemy assault mech. That's round 10. Come on, are you kidding me? Should have been here like at round 5, round 6 at the very latest. So going back to go ahead and focus firing, and now what I'm doing with my assault mechs, my two awesomes, is I'm gonna try to stack them a little bit to kind of force the issue on what the AI is going to shoot at. I'm gonna give them the close target of an assault mech, and then the next closest target I'm gonna make it another assault mech, just to try to see if I can keep them from shooting at my medium mechs in the background, who still have the firing range to engage target with the PPCs. And right there you see it put down the second enemy mech with PPC fire, and another highly damaged, mech that was in the background. But let's see if this works. As you can see, my lance is almost in not a straight line, but a pretty good line. I know they have line of sight on me, but right here I'm just trying to see if I can force the AI to engage the targets I want it to engage just by how I'm orientating my mechs. The Centurion moves into close range and did what I wanted to do. Went ahead and engaged the closest mech, which is the assault mech up front, and left the two medium mechs alone. And right here I assumed that it was going to work.
Standing by.
The Griffin is fairly healthy, but I don't want to move the Griffin into melee range. So if I do that, it's going to definitely be in PPC range for the enemy awesome that's coming around the corner back there. But I want to get some decent firing arcs on the Centurion and go ahead and put it down as fast as possible. And right here you can see how flexible movement can be with mechs that are jump jet equipped. I could never run or sprint over there and then turn the mech completely around to face his front armor toward the target. And if I sprinted, obviously I wouldn't be able to do an attack move after that, as the sprint would end the move. But with the jump jets, you're able to jump max distance, reorientate your mech in any direction you want to, and then still attack, which I did right there. So the jump jet equipped mechs are pretty, flexible and offer a lot of variety to what you can do, which is something I probably need to play with the Victor and use its jump jets. Although it is one of those light, it is the light assault mech of this game right now, but it is jump jet capable. And probably one of these games I'm gonna go ahead and try to figure that one out with the Victor, but I don't like the Victor, never have. It just doesn't bring enough punch to be called an assault mech. Anyway, back to what I have on the battlefield here. So now my lance isn't lined up in a straight line, but the AI went ahead and attacked the second awesome that was in line and knocked it down. And that decision might have had something to do with its debuff bar being so full, and maybe the AI was like, hey, that mech's about to go down, I need to go ahead and put that mech down to try and do, take out as many guns as I could in this match. If that's the reason why the AI went after that mech, that's good. If it just went after it just because it rolled some dice in it in the background, did some RNG and decided to attack that mech, that's bad. Again, right here, something else that's been bothering me about this game is I wish you could move the paper doll indicator for the enemy mechs. I would like to have it off to the right hand corner or the left hand corner. I don't want it in the middle of the screen, because it seems to kind of get in the way. The way I tend to have the camera zoomed out, and I can't move it, and it bugs me sometimes because it gets in the way. I mean, you can still do actions behind it. It's more for me just a visual thing. I really don't like where it's at. And I actually think there's actually threads in the beta forum that are specifically talking about that. So maybe that'll be something that gets released later, or it'll be an option to move things around to unlock them, to anchor them in different places of the screen. And then here, this is what I'm doing with this awesome, just backing it up, trying to get into that good weapons envelope for the PPCs. But at the same time, because the pilot was damaged a lot, I did a sprint move, which gives it an evasion buff. So right now, if that awesome gets targeted, it has an evasion buff, which will make it harder to hit, 50% chance to hit, I believe it is. And part of the reason for that, because the pilot is taking a lot of head damage and right torso damage on that awesome, and I didn't want to risk, the pilot being killed with the rest of the mech pretty much being fully intact with next to no damage, which is why I sprint moved it and was not able to attack afterward. But then we get back to this, moved closer in to attack a mech in the background that is highly damaged. and ignoring what's going on in front of it. Although the AI, I could see why it wouldn't attack the awesome I just sprint move because of his movement debuff. So I can't really say that choice is that bad, but for me, I probably would have went ahead and attacked the other awesome on its side armor, because that right arm is the arm that has the PPC on it. So if you could, crit or take that arm out, you're gonna take 33% of the firepower off of that mech. Is the AI thinking about that kind of thing? I'm not sure. I don't know. So I'm not sure what that was. So here I went ahead and used the LRM and the PPC on that. Go ahead and shut the mech down. It's standing in water. Not that big of a deal. Mech's fairly healthy. And right now, just assuming they're gonna go ahead and keep shooting at the I already forgot the name of the mech, the Vindicator that's up front, which the AI did. And now what I'm gonna start doing with my two awesome mechs is I'm going to separate them even more, forcing the AI to give up side or rear shots to engage one or the other target. That's what my plan is after I deal with the Centurion. Go into melee with the awesome. It uses its left arm because the PPC is in the right arm. Goes ahead and puts the Centurion down. Pilot injury. That is the only melee combat I am going to do in this match. Like I said, I wanted to use the PPCs exclusively, but that was so close and so easy to get to, couldn't pass it up. And now I have this mech on its ground. I need to get this awesome into a better position to fire on this mech. Try to get the percentages up a little bit, but it doesn't happen. Go ahead and do a called shot, and I target the head, but obviously the head's on the other side of me from where I'm shooting, but it destroys the other leg, which in all the Mech Warrior BattleTech games, destroy both legs. What happens? The mech is out of the fight. Even if the pilot's alive, there's nothing wrong with the center torso. Both legs gone. That means that the mech is down and out. So all that's left is the awesome. And it's only been here for 3 turns because the AI took so long to bring it into the fight. Now it's just all about whittling it down till I put it out of the game. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when at this point. And going ahead and still using the PPC at long range to get a really good feel for that. And that was a miss. But there's been very few misses with the PPCs in this game. Again, the shutdown mech, the AI never targeted it. I sort of figured out what was going to happen. Go ahead, restart it. Now it's going to have no cooling issues. It's standing in water. I believe it only have a little bit of its heat bar built up at this point. But now I'm starting to worry a little bit about the awesome on the right that has the wildfire pilot in it. That's the one that's been taking a lot of head damage and now both left and right torso damage. And it's almost like the AI has been targeting the upper part of the mech. And I would like to target specific areas other than called shots, but maybe that's something that comes in later. Maybe it'll be a pilot skill. That'd be pretty cool to do. You could try to use lighter mechs to leg a heavier mech if they get into a fight when that's pretty much all they can do. Maybe try to destroy legs. But anyway, back to this. Just a matter of time. Trying to get into some decent range to use the PPCs. As if you notice, both awesomes have been using all 3 PPCs every round. They've had 0 heat issues as they've been standing in the water, taking advantage of double cooling on what I believe is 28 heat sinks. So do the math. They're getting what is basically 56 heat sinks worth of cooling done. And that is it. I'm pretty sure that, like I said, I'm pretty sure that's how the mechs are modeling this game. I'm not 100% sure if this version of the 8Q actually has 28 heat sinks in it or not. It'd be kind of cool if it does. But anyways, and the cooling systems for PPCs are, they have cooling water jackets on them, and that helps. I don't know if that's taken into account in this game either. And then some mechs have special abilities to cool down weapon system. Obviously, coolant flush is not in the game yet, which I quite imagine is going to be in the game. I don't see why it wouldn't be in the game. And then as far as, I think it's the Griffin. I think the Griffin is the one that actually has a traditional unique ability with this arm mounted PPC, is that it can actually stick it in the water and, you know, flush water through the PPC to cool it off. I think that's a unique ability. I think it's the Griffin that does that. I don't think it's the Vindicator. One of those two does it. That'd be a cool ability to do if there's mech specific, you know, things to cool themselves down, as I'm pretty sure there's other mechs in the BattleTech universe that have unique abilities that were built into them that they can do. But I don't remember. Here, bringing the Griffin over next to the Vindicator, trying to present multiple targets, because from what I can tell right now, the Vindicator has somewhat of a line of sight issue with the Awesome standing in front of it as far as the AI is concerned. And I'm just trying to protect it, as I want to end this match with all 4 of my mechs alive in the lance. But I'll go ahead and give that spoiler out. That doesn't happen. I left the Vindicator out and about 1 turn too many, and the Vindicator ends up going down when I should have just jumped it away and let it live for another day. And if this game holds true to how other mech Warrior or BattleTech games are, you might want to start thinking about that, as that can save you some C-bill repair costs. I mean, if you get a mech that's destroyed, you could lose it outright and get lucky on salvaging some parts off it if you win the match. And maybe if they get destroyed, all the equipment goes with it, and maybe you've spent a good amount of C-bills putting specific things in the mechs. You know, that's something to think about in the future with this game. Going ahead and just letting the mech get destroyed just because is probably not going to be a good idea. It normally isn't in these games, as you suffer penalties for just letting your mechs get destroyed because you don't want to move them around and protect them. I like that idea. It could change the play style of some people. Maybe you target a mech that they put a lot of C-bills into, put a lot of damage onto it. Next thing you know, you're trying to run it around trying to protect it because you really don't want to lose it, knowing there's a chance of having equipment completely destroyed that you cannot even salvage if you win the game. Those are good things to have in these games. I like them. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that think that is a good deal also. Well, I'm pretty sure there's some people out there that probably think it's dumb, but hey, it's just how things work in these types of games for the BattleTech Mech Warrior universe. PPCs are pretty much, when I've been firing, I think the lowest percentage they hit was like 70, maybe 75%, and that's me trying to keep them inside their optimal range to do maximum damage, well, maximum hit potential as possible, which is anytime the numbers are green, you're trying to get the numbers green on the right hand screen. At 80% is, I think below 80% is when they start turning white. And then when they're red is when they're really suboptimal ranges. You know, you're way too close, and I've noticed it's just they don't do anything, and you don't want to do that. Like getting in melee range and trying to use your PPCs, you're gonna have a red percentage over there, and all just probably gonna miss. And look at that, single PPC from Arclight slices off the right arm of the Awesome, taking away one of its PPCs as it goes flying through the air, landing on the shore of that little island over there on the upper left. And it'd be really funny to run up there, grab it, and beat him with it from behind. But that's not in the game yet. And like I said, there you go. You can see on the paper doll, the right arm is gone, PPC's red. The yellow PPC was critted earlier, which means it has a chance to be destroyed with the next hit, I believe it is. You don't have to crit it again. And it has one PPC that is completely, fully operational. But Apex right there did a lot of damage, did a lot of heat seek damage to that mech on that volley, and that was the LRM-10 doing most of that, and also putting the Awesome down. And now it is just a matter of time right here. This is when I one move too long, PPC straight to the center torso of the Vindicator and puts it down, destroys it. It is out of the match. Now it is my turn, and no need in talking about this too much. Ozone goes ahead and eliminates the enemy. Awesome puts it down, match over. I win when I was trying to keep my entire lance alive. Again, I like the feel of the PPCs. I think they're in a good spot. There's a couple things that probably need a little bit of tweaking. But as far as accuracy and damage, they feel good for the game, and I like where they're at now.